What we're giving you are facts and conclusions based on solid intelligence.
Saddam Hussein is a homicidal dictator who is addicted to weapons of mass destruction.
We came, we saw, he died.
Ventura is with the son of CIA operative E. Howard Hunt, about to hear Hunt's deathbed confession of his role in the JFK murder conspiracy.
He admitted what to you?
Exactly. He admitted that the code name for the operation to assassinate President Kennedy was called the Big Event, and he was proud of it.
How is one proud of that? I mean, they really felt that determined that Kennedy was so bad for the country?
Well, not for the country, for the interests. Operation 40 took people out. That was their job. That was their mission. And it was the same bunch of guys that were trying to assassinate Castro. David Morales, Frank Sturgis, who would have done anything to avenge the failure at the Bay of Pigs.
Sturgis and Morales and people of that ilk stayed in apartment houses during the preparations for the big event. Their addresses were very subject to change. I was a bench warmer on it. We backtracked the chain of command during the run-up for the big event.
There it was, all spelled out. E. Howard Hunt admitting a plot. Let's go beyond Kennedy and let's go to Watergate. What were they there to find when they burglarized this place?
My father told me that that there was a safe that they were to get into, and that safe was evidence linking President Nixon to Operation 40.
Those notebooks in the safe, have you ever seen those notebooks since the break-in?
No, sir.
The information that was in that safe, would that have also led to Kennedy?
It very much would have led to Kennedy.
Do you have any idea why those notebooks disappeared? What was in them that would cause them to be that sensitive?
These guys were an intact, ready-to-go group of assassins. They were sent worldwide to eliminate foreign leaders, diplomats, anybody that was unfriendly to the United States government.
And at that time, many people believed Kennedy was unfavorable to the United States government.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So all they would have had to do was take this Operation 40 and send it to Dallas.
And just point it in that direction. These guys were queued up and ready to go. They were locked, loaded, and ready to rumble.
The tapes added one more element. Another future president pulled into the plot. First Richard Nixon, then Gerald Ford, then George H.W. Bush. Now,
LBJ. He, in my opinion, had an almost maniacal urge to become president. He regarded JFK as an obstacle to achieving that.
Lyndon Baines Johnson, the vice president who became president. Now, this is the person that my dad implicated in the plot directly.
So you're saying Ruby was working for the KGB?
Ruby was working for the Cuban intelligence service.
The Cubans?
Yes, sir.
You know that to be a fact?
Yes, sir, I do.
Soon after the assassination, Sturgis says the CIA and FBI brought evidence to President Lyndon Johnson, suggesting the Soviet Union was involved in JFK's murder.
That the Soviet Union, through the KGB, successfully assassinated the President of the United States with the help of Fidel Castro and got away with it.
Yes. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Sturgis told me he wants his story out because he himself has been accused of having something to do with the assassination. He says he is tired of hearing lies.
He was scared because Khrushchev says, don't do this or we're going to do that. You know, so he didn't do it, and he deserted the Bay of Pigs. I was involved in the Bay of Pigs. Got a lot of people, friends of mine, that were killed in the Bay of Pigs. And I resent that. Don't play political games with me. I'm a military man. I'm a soldier. I go fight. But damn it, if I risk my ass out there and I'm getting shot at, I don't want some stupid-ass politician to go ahead and make deals behind my back where my people, or maybe myself, are going to get killed. I don't.
shot. No, you're not. You're blocking his shot. Get over there. Get him out of there. I don't want to do that. We have a right to be here to shoot the shot. Son of a... Hey, Senator! Yeah, that's really low class, pal. Really low class, and everybody in the world will see it. Hey, Senator, a word, please. Senator, a word, please. Senator, we came all the way up to see you. Senator, a word.
Let me shake your hand.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
So you're saying Ruby was working for the KGB?
Ruby was working for the Cuban intelligence service.
The Cubans?
Yes, sir.
You know that to be a fact?
Yes, sir, I do.
Soon after the assassination, Sturgis says the CIA and FBI brought evidence to President Lyndon Johnson, suggesting the Soviet Union was involved in JFK's murder.
That the Soviet Union, through the KGB, successfully assassinated the President of the United States with the help of Fidel Castro and got away with it.
Yes. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Sturgis told me he wants his story out because he himself has been accused of having something to do with the assassination. He says he is tired of hearing lies.
You want to send more people to this war? Is that your position?
If we cut and run out of there like you want to do, we would be putting every American in 1,000 times more jeopardy than they're in now.
We're going to cut and run anyway,
well,
Bill.
That's your
Bill.
Go.
This Iraq was not a terrorist state.
Oh, no.
I hope I don't patronize you for saying
guy.
Again.
He was just a great guy.
Saddam was a bastard, but he was our bastard.
He wasn't anybody's.
Donald Rumsfeld shook his hand in the 80s. Well, you wouldn't send your children to this war, Bill.
My nephew just enlisted in the Army. You don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Very good. Congratulations, Steve.
Yeah, and he's a patriot, so don't denigrate his service or I'll boot you right off the set.
I'm not.
That boy made a decision to serve his country. Do not denigrate him or you're out of here.
Your nephew is not your kid. You
He's
are
my
like
blood.
You are part of a loud group of people who want to prove they're tough and send other people's kids to war to make the case.
You have no clue about how to fight a war on terror or how to defend your country. You are clueless. So is Machine.
How many more young men and women are you going to send to have their arms and legs blown off?
Hey, this is
so
Chief Chris Kyle, a Navy SEAL, is officially the most lethal sniper in U.S. military history. The chief has written a brand new book called American Sniper that chronicles his amazing story in Iraq. I spoke with him last night. So, Chief, I read your book. Very entertaining. I recommend it for my audience. I think they'll like it. First of all, you say you knocked Jesse Ventura to the floor with a punch. Now, you don't mention his name, but everybody knows who that is. Number one, that happened? You knocked him out?
Yeah. Well, I knocked him down.
Knocked him down. Why? Why would you punch Ventura?
It was in '06. Was the year that we lost our first 2 SEALs in Iraq. We came home. We lost our last guy just before coming home. We had the wake in a SEAL bar there in Coronado, and he was there. He was there for a speaking engagement at a bud ceremony, graduating class.
Because he was a SEAL, right? Yes, sir. Was a Navy SEAL. So he was bad-mouthing the war, right?
Bad-mouthing the war, bad-mouthing Bush, bad-mouthing America. The family was there. I asked him to please tone it down, that we did not want to upset the family members of Mikey Mansour.
Who was killed?
Yes, sir, and he earned the Medal of Honor. He jumped on a grenade and saved everybody else around.
But I want to be clear, Ventura wasn't attacking him at all, verbally bashing him. He was just bashing the whole thing in general.
Yes, sir, until he said we deserve to lose a few guys.
He said we deserve to, we, the United States.
No, he said you y'all deserve to lose a few guys.
Navy SEALs.
I'm assuming he was saying that to me.
Was he drunk?
No, sir. I never saw him with a drink in hand at all.
So once he said you deserve to lose a few guys, you popped him?
Yes, sir.
Did he fight back?
He went down. The cops were there. I took off running.
You had a defamation lawsuit against Chris Kyle when he was still alive for allegations he made in his book about a brawl that you had allegedly been involved with, and you've now decided to continue the action even though he's died. Why have you continued it?
Well, because it's always been about clearing my name and getting back my reputation. This never happened. And the only way that I can do that, Piers, is to go into court and let's present the evidence and let a jury and a judge determine whether this incident occurred, because it did not happen. So I feel totally fine with going to court over it, and I will continue to pursue that, because how am I going to run for political office if I do decide to do that nationally with this hanging over my head? I was accused by this gentleman of committing treason. That's very serious. In fact, it's a capital offense in the military. It is not about money. It's about restoring my reputation.
But do you not feel slightly uncomfortable about the fact you're now suing his widow?
No, because an insurance company's paying for the whole thing anyway. It's the insurance company of the book publisher. I just have to sue her simply because she is now the estate since he has passed away. It's just a legal procedure you have to go through because of a death.
Jesse Ventura, always good to talk to you. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Piers. I appreciate you letting me clear that up for you.
Harvey had written in a memo at one point when he was running the executive action program that he wanted to use Corsicans.
Wanted to use what?
Corsicans.
Yeah.
As hitmen. Do you think it's possible that when he was in Rome that he might have recruited a Corsican assassin to kill Kennedy?
Yes. It is possible. I mean, it's one thing to set yourself up in splendid isolation, and it's another thing to use that isolation as a tool so that you're not an immediate suspect in the case of a capital crime.
Right, because he was in Rome.
Is that understandable?
Yeah,
Okay.
very. My understanding is that Harvey had a very severe clash with Bobby Kennedy around the time of the missile crisis, and that Kennedy basically
I think it was
said, "Get rid
earlier
of
than
this guy."
that. And he posted an old slogan somewhere in the agency premises that said, the tree of liberty must be nourished by the blood of patriots. And this incensed Bobby Kennedy. And they clashed on that particular point.
Let me ask you, John F. Kennedy's assassination. Who did that?
It was done by William Harvey, who was the head of the CIA's assassination unit at that time. David Morales was directly involved in it. He likewise is the gentleman who killed Che Guevara down in Bolivia in '67, where they put him up against a firing wall and killed him and shot and killed him. Morales was part of that. I believe that because I saw, heard, and read a confession from E. Howard Hunt on a deathbed to his son. And when he confessed, it was not a confession of remorse. It was a confession of pride. He wanted the world to know that we helped you out. We killed John Kennedy, this communist sympathizer.
Everything was extremely tense. And suddenly it was discovered that Harvey had sent a team of people into Cuba, and the Kennedys were very concerned that this crisis might explode into nuclear war. And Robert Kennedy particularly was in a rage when he heard that this loose cannon had added a further element of unpredictability to the situation.
Harvey hated the Kennedys. After the Cuban Missile Crisis,
he had a confrontation with Bobby Kennedy that virtually ended his career, exiling him to an intelligence station in Rome.
We had a terrible experience with the ones that were handling it at the time of the missile crisis. They were going to send 60 people into Cuba right during the missile crisis. Nobody knew what they were doing, and we pinned it down to the fellow who was supposed to be in charge, and he said we planned it because the military wanted it done, and I asked the military, and they never heard of it.
Oh my God.
This is the same fellow who did put the tunnel under Berlin, and so he was, you remember that tunnel in 1948? They constructed a tunnel under and built it up into the intelligence office of the, which was a hell of a project. But he did that better than he did this.
En 1976, plus de 80% des personnes interrogées ne croyaient pas à la thèse du tireur isolé. Poussé par la pression populaire, le Congrès met sur pied une commission d'enquête parlementaire sur les assassinats. Deux révélations servent de déclic. La première, c'est une lettre d'Oswald adressée à l'agent du FBI, James Hosty, qui a été détruite après sa mort. Hosty ne l'avait pas mentionné à la commission. La seconde fut la découverte de l'implication de la CIA dans plusieurs tentatives d'attentats contre Fidel Castro, révélant la présence d'éléments incontrôlables au sein de cette agence gouvernementale. Gerald Ford, membre de la commission Warren, déclare à la nouvelle commission d'enquête que s'il avait eu connaissance de ces informations, la commission dont il faisait partie aurait élargi son champ d'investigation.
If we had known of these assassination plans or attempts,
si nous avions eu connaissance de projets ou de tentatives d'assassinat par une agence du gouvernement fédéral, nous aurions certainement étendu notre enquête à ces organisations.
Oui, il y a bien eu un quatrième coup de feu, conclut la commission parlementaire dans son rapport de janvier 1979, en s'appuyant sur l'analyse des enregistrements effectués par des micros de la police de Dallas. Grâce à un équipement acoustique sophistiqué, cette analyse a permis d'identifier la provenance du troisième des 4 coups de feu. Celui-ci est parti du monticule herbeux. Un autre tireur au moins a donc fait feu. La commission d'enquête parlementaire conclut qu'il y a probablement eu complot, mais que ni la CIA ni le FBI n'y étaient impliqués.
After a deluded gunman assassinated President Kennedy, our nation turned to Gerald Ford and a select handful of others to make sense of that madness. And the conspiracy theorists can say what they will, but the Warren Commission report will always have the final definitive say on this tragic matter. Why? Because Jerry Ford put his name on it, and Jerry Ford's word was always good. After a deluded gunman assassinated President Kennedy,
That's Bill Newman. He was standing right there on that terrible day.
Something has happened in the motor station. Stand by, please.
He's one of the few witnesses who survived to tell his story. Many others died mysteriously. Bill may be alive today because he slipped through the cracks. Well, Bill, this is about the spot right here that you and your family were standing at?
That's correct. My wife, Gail, and my 2 children, Bill, who was 4 at the time, and Clayton, who was 2.
President Kennedy came down just about the center lane?
He was out from the curb, probably some 10 or 12 feet.
10 or 12 feet, but you were this close.
As the president's car turned left onto Elm Street, probably some 100 feet or less from us, the first two shots rang out. And it was a boom, boom like that. Just as the car got straight in front of us, the third shot rang out. The side of President Kennedy's head blew off. You could see the brain matter and the blood fly up. Mrs. Kennedy, she screamed out, "Oh my God, no, they've shot Jack." I turned to Gail and I said, "That's it," hit the ground, and we threw our children down and covered them on the ground. I thought the shot had come from directly behind.
Directly behind?
Shot down from behind.
Did you see anything in the book depository building or anything that...
No, I mean, I had no reason to look at the book depository.
I read the report you were interviewed by the FBI, a one-page report. Your wife about, what, 2/3 of a page report?
You have it.
I have it. There's yours and there's your wife.
That was the only, I would say, the official contact that we had with any authorities.
You were literally 10 to 15 feet away from the fatal headshot, and the Warren Commission never even called to have you testify or talk to you?
No, Governor, we were never contacted by the Warren Commission, and I questioned that because others like yourself had asked that same question.
The Warren Commission. The new President Lyndon Johnson set it up a week after the assassination to investigate the killing. The report concluded Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. But before he died, Commission member Gerald Ford admitted that the CIA had destroyed or withheld critical evidence. The Warren Commission didn't even talk to you. Never interviewed.
No.
It seems to me like they had the answer before they asked the questions. They already knew the conclusion.
Could be.
The Warren Commission's lone gunman theory relies on something called the magic bullet. One bullet would have caused all the non-fatal wounds to JFK and Texas Governor John Connally sitting in front of him. Warren Commission staffer Arlen Specter came up with that one. What do you know? He wound up a senator. Gerald Ford later admitted that he changed the description of JFK's wounds to make the theory sound more plausible. He wound up president. You helped the Warren Commission in the cover-up? Good things can happen.
says, well, I bet you that President Johnson is going to be real pleased when he finds that now they're calling me the #1 bomber. And George Christian said, oh, don't be too sure. He said, you know, LBJ, he never likes to be #2.
He was so angry. He had a violent temper when he was upset.
Well, let's use the exact words that he said to you. What did he say to you?
He grabbed me by the arm, and he had this deep voice, and he said, after tomorrow, those SOBs will never embarrass me again. That's no threat. That's a promise. And it startled me.
Alors, Johnson avait une raison particulière d'assassiner Kennedy, c'est qu'une enquête était en cours sur les meurtres qui jalonnent le parcours politique de Johnson et qui voient les gens qui lui empêchent d'accéder au pouvoir disparaître. Et Wallace est impliqué là-dedans. On retrouvera les empreintes de Wallace à l'emplacement où on prétendra qu'Oswald a tiré.
When he was done, he had a 34-point match. And when you mention that in criminal circles to an investigator, how confident would you feel with a 34-point match? Oh, that's a slam dunk. It can't miss. It doesn't get any better than that. You give me a 34-point match on any case in the United States, I'll take it to court and win.
The inked and the latent print are made by the same finger. And the other evidence that I've been presented with was Malcolm Wallace's left little finger, without a reasonable doubt.
On ne peut pas contester la présence de Wallace sur place où ils ont retrouvé ses empreintes. Et quant à Eladio del Valle, il a été massacré à coups de machette. Je dirais que ça recoupe... Lui aussi était un anticastriste impliqué dans l'épisode des tentatives multiples de la CIA pour assassiner Castro. Comme Morales, qui a été lui aussi liquidé dans les années 70.
There is Lee Oswald. He's been shot. He's been shot. Lee Oswald has been shot. There's the man with a gun. It's absolute panic here in the basement of Dallas Police Headquarters.
Jack, what do you think about the hearing? I want to correct what I stated before. If he was vice president, remember I said he was vice president? Yes, I did when I mentioned about Adlai Stevens. If he was vice president, there would never have been an assassination of our beloved President Kennedy. Would you explain it, Jack? Well, the answer is the man in office now.